The Share Pickers Weekend Podcast with Justin, Paddy, Peter and Steve. The content of this podcast is not intended as investment advice. It is for information purposes only. People in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Welcome to the Weekend Podcast. I'm joined by Pete and... What's the ticker? Break-even Stephen.
Excellent. Hello.
Did it break up a bit then at the start? I think your internet buffered a bit, didn't it? Is that why I was introducing that then?
It sounded okay at my end.
Yeah, it's clear as a whistle.
Clear as a bell. Clear as a whistle. Clear as a bell. What is it? Clear as a whistle or clear as a bell? What is it?
It's clear as a whistle.
Let's get it right, guys. At the start of the podcast, for heaven's sake. It's not as clean as a whistle, is it? It's clean as a whistle, Steve.
Yeah.
But clear and clean is the same thing, really, isn't it?
It's so clean, I could blow it. That's it.
Yeah, strong start, guys. Strong
It
start.
is. It's one of the best, I think. It's, noted down, Steve, in the archives. Right.
in the archive.
Yeah. I did think long and hard about doing the weekend podcast, as a mark of respect. And I thought, we better do it because it's what you would have wanted. Let's be honest. Big fan of the weekend podcast and all that stuff. And let's be honest, recently it'd be more normal not to do it. So, we've had quite a few weekends off. So let's be abnormal. I do think it is ridiculous everything's being cancelled. Stop cancelling everything. People just saying, look, we cancel this to look at mark respect. The Queen liked sport. She would have been watching. Yeah. She had one of the best royal boxes in most horse racing events. She loved it. And in fact, Peter Crouch on Twitter said, wouldn't it be a good opportunity to sing the national anthem, to have a minute's silence, to wear black armbands, to celebrate life, not celebrate the end, everything stopped. No.
Oh, well, I did think that. I mean, I never knew her personally, but I always got the impression that she was very much like, crack on, get things done, move forward.
Absolutely.
Not stop and,
It's everyone trying to be more respectful than someone else and then looking down on you saying, oh, you should cancel. And the Queen would love to go to a horse race, on the weekend. Would loved it. Loved that.
I found it weird in Wales that a couple of my friends were moaning the fact that literally on Friday morning, the schools basically said, we're closing the schools today. And I was like, why are you closing the schools today? I'd love to know the reason for why the teachers have gone, I think we should close today because the kids will be too upset to come into school or for whatever reason.
Because the teachers want a day off.
That's exactly what it is.
It's exactly. And do you know what? One of the things that it was announced, it was rumours she passed away at 2:30 in the afternoon. And in fact, Megan's auntie's in hospital, and she heard it from a nurse there, saying a nurse said she passed away, but the family had to be there and stuff. But and then it came through. I was taking the kids to the boxing club, and I was coming back, and I was on the M3. You know you are. I was on the M3 driving along. I said we interrupted this programme, and then I got a text from my son's school saying, our planned cheese and wine evening has been cancelled as a mark of respect to the Queen. I said, what the heck? You cancelled cheese and wine? What do you... I said, stop cancelling everything. Stop cancelling life, everyone. It's like the famous saying, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. All our lives will end. The sad part is not doing something with our lives. And by cancelling stuff, there are people's businesses that are suffering. GDP will suffer. All that. The economy doesn't want that. The Queen wants a powerful UK that's running smoothly. It's ridiculous. Pathetic. Yeah. People putting pressure on others to be respectful. There's nothing more disrespectful than cancelling life. Just get on with it. People's livelihoods are on the line.
Let's celebrate it. Exactly,
celebrate life. Do you know what? I do think. Listen, I'm not a royalist, but it's you can be respectful to someone because she's a nice old lady, a grandmother, a mother, without having to have a go at her. There's lots of rude people online. You don't need to be disrespectful. At times like this, if you don't believe it, just don't go out there start running your mouth off. Just have a bit of respect. Yeah. You don't have to be a royalist to say, okay, it's an elderly lady passed away. Just have some respect. That's simple as that, isn't it? Really?
Well, exactly, and she didn't ask to be queen. That was given to her, and she worked for 70 years for the country, being the queen. So, whatever your thoughts on monarchy and all the rest of it, you can't fault her for her stoic leadership and all everything through thick and thin, and being surrounded by some pretty suspect people along the way. So
Well, do you know what though? I think she's the best version of the royal family. Now I think that's it. The franchise. It's like handing it over to I get the rest of them. No. She was the best version there was, I think, and that's it. Downhill now. But do you know what? How long do you think Hugh Edwards had a black suit in the wardrobe for at the BBC? because literally he changed within a few minutes. And where did you get that from? It's like a special cupboard for that black suit and tie. They're all in the BBC. I think are going overboard on this. I really do. I was talking to a guy on a podcast from America, and we started off, and he came on, very respectful because we're in the UK, and I said, no, it's okay. We're not all, like the BBC. And I'm just thinking.
It's funny. It's funny you say that though, because I don't know about you, but like I remember a long time ago, my last couple of months in Ken Capital, the amount of training they would do with you on obits, which is basically when Royal dies. And then I was intrigued to see what actually happened on radio, and I was listening to Capital, and it obviously plays out exactly how I remember being trained at it. It all goes into classical music, and you're like, it's bonkers, isn't it?
It is. It is absolutely bonkers. I mean, the BBC, they're beyond respectful. It's almost too gushing. Have you noticed now? Are they being told to talk more slowly? Because
Maybe.
I just feel they have a lot of time to fill, so they use every word they can, slow it right down. And I was watching yesterday, and it was like, what was it? George? No, not George. I don't know. And Prince Charles was flying down from Aberdeen, and I was watching the plane sit on the runway, and obviously got a lot of space to fill, and they're just like, and there's King Charles III now making his way to the plane.
Yep, there's a plane.
Yeah, RAF jet. 3 people waiting at the steps there, and he'd shake their hand. He will shake their hand to show respect, and they're showing some flowers now, and looks like there's some lilies amongst them. That was the Queen's favourite. He'll be getting on the plane now, and this is hours this goes on for.
Well,
what the heck is going on?
I don't know about you, but from parents, there was always that thing of, do you remember where you were when the King died?
Yeah.
So what were you doing?
The King died?
What?
When you you haven't been there long, has he?
What were you doing when you found out the Queen died? I was making a stir fry.
Yeah, I was on the M3 driving from Winchester to Jarlath Ford.
I was in the pub. There you go.
Yeah.
There we are.
There's one point where he sat there. Obviously, the plane takes a while to take off, and he was like, "And now the pilot will be doing all his checks." What do you know what he's doing? It was quite windy yesterday. Quite windy yesterday, so he'll be doing his checks there now. It'll take about just over an hour to get from Aberdeen to. I thought, guys, there's something else. And then they said this morning this is going to go on for 10 days. So if you talk a bit faster, we'll get it done in 5. Come on, speed up.
Did you go through the safety briefing on the plane?
Yes.
And they'll be being pointing out the exits.
Yes,
here
and
here. Oxygen would come down for the ceiling.
And the air hostess now will probably be offering refreshments. No one can guess what kind of refreshments they'd have. But if it was me, I'd go for a Lucozade Energy drink, just to speed me up a bit.
That's what I like at this time of day. I don't know about you.
It is. They just fill air time with anything, don't they? And
I have to say on the radio station, so the music's improved.
Some of them have, Yeah,
I'm quite enjoying it.
It was one guy saying, what's the guy? I can't think of his name. He does the Mastermind now. What's that guy on the BBC?
Clive.
Clive, yes. Yeah. Anyway, he was talking there, and people will go to Buckingham Palace now to hang out because they should, and they can, and they will, but they will be doing that, and they'll be. What are you doing? It's just going on and on and on. And then, Charles came on yesterday. I don't know if you saw Boris's speech, actually, talking about obituaries. You see that, Steve, that he said to the BBC...
I saw bits of it,
Theresa May did an excellent speech, and Boris did, to be fair. You can see why he's a great orator, a very good salesman, lacks probably on the detail when the work has to get done. Probably takes a back seat and says, you could get on with this. But very good speeches. And he did say about the BBC approaching him a couple of months back, about talking about the Queen in past tense. And he said, I couldn't do it. He said, I just couldn't do it. I said that I can't do this. And so the obituaries happen. They're pre-prepared months in advance. It's a bit odd. But I did. And then Charles came on and did that. He said, I will serve this land like my papa. I did think the whole thing is a little absurd. Really is.
Oh, but I like that. I like the fact it's absurd.
No, it's not. It's ridiculous. I thought, what do you serve? What do you mean, Charles? You've never served me. I've never been at a restaurant. What do you do? I don't understand. Well, basically, they get invited to nice events, shake lots of hands. Yeah, it's not the toughest gig in the world. And no. I do think now the restaurants see them all there. I mean, the Queen was the best video. I do think now it's the epitome of entitlement. It's like, literally, people seek their opinion. I think all they've done, they go to sports events, and people who are at these sports events, generally the finalists and all, highly achieved athletes, have worked hard all their life, and yet they should be, in somehow pleased to shake the hand of someone like Charles, who's basically just born. You're born, that's it. That's all you have to achieve to be born. That's it.
One thing you've got to bear in mind, though, and you can see from the outpouring of grief across the world, is for whatever reason, whatever your opinion, but they are quite a draw, and the Queen was an incredible draw for the country.
Because we're brainwashed into it. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, it's like everywhere you go.
Tourist attraction.
Exactly. But everywhere you go, right, you see pictures of them. It's literally, they do become part of the psyche, and that is the power of it. And literally, you get drawn into it. If you actually break it down into its, logical parts, this is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
A lot of things in life, if you rationalise it down, it's ridiculous, isn't it? A lot of sport is ridiculous. A lot of things are ridiculous.
But I just think I'm there for if we want to achieve true equality, and the fact that if you work hard, you'll achieve something in life. That's completely opposite to what that is. Anyway, so I just think people seeking out, Charles or the princes, Prince Harry and Prince William's opinions. They're standing in front of crowds, people giving their opinions. Hang on a sec. The Queen did experience life, actually. I mean, she was in the war. She did things. She actually did things, Yeah. So, but these guys now come into it. I don't understand, really. Why are you seeking their opinion? Because you've just been born. That's all you've done. So that's your achievement. We've all been born.
But talking of opinions, one thing the BBC do, all the news channels do, isn't it? They're going to get the public opinion from people outside Buckingham. I don't care what people think. I really don't want to know. I don't want to know what the public think. It's like, whatever.
Exactly. But
they're all mentalists anyway, probably.
They are mad. All those people hanging out there are mad. And there was this person, it's like they're asking this woman and this man, a chunky pair, outside Windsor Castle. First of all, why are you there? There's no one there in Windsor. She was in Balmoral. And she's passed away anyway. He's not really going to see anyone at Windsor. I said, why are you going to know this? And they basically have been watching the news, I think, because they're saying exactly the same thing. They've been hearing the news. Well, she was always there for us, and she was the longest running monarch. And I thought, well, this BBC is saying that. Why? And, it's just, but why are you here? It was just nice to see other people.
Why are you here?
I got nothing else to do. I'm saying I got nothing else to do, to be honest. Yeah.
It's a day out, isn't it?
Yeah, I said this one guy, he's quite big. I said, it'd be nice if he said, well, listen, I'm here because I've just opened up my kebab stand, my hot dog van on the road there, and I'm selling Royal Baps, and I've got everything up for sale there. At least he's got something to do there, but there we are.
Queen's special kebab.
Yeah. I've got corgi hot dogs. I got the lot. I got
hot corgis.
It's insane. But anyway, let's stocks and shares. Yeah. I do think.
Well, isn't it? It's going well.
No, but hang on.
Strong.
I don't know whether it's imagination, a bit like everything has been imagination, perception. But I do think we are. I mean, let's be honest. It's been a big week for Liz Truss, isn't it? There's a guy on the BBC basically blaming Boris and Liz for her death, saying she had a very busy day, she had to meet two prime ministers, and that takes it out of you. And since then, she's gone downhill. So I can understand Paddy would agree with that. I mean, meeting those two on the same day would probably kill off anyone. But he was basically blaming them two, the meeting of them two. But it's been a big week for Liz Truss. As a prime minister, you wouldn't get bigger than that, would you? Changing the energy policy because of, cost of living crisis, and then, meeting the Queen, and then meeting the King because the Queen dies. You think, wow, that's the first week in the job. It's a job always like this. It's just quite busy, isn't it?
But for a country as well, like the head of state and the prime minister both being changed within the same week. That's
time rolls on and life goes on, And
for it to happen together like that is a bit bizarre. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah. I did call my father last night and asked him what he thought. He's not, the biggest royalist, but I was even shocked by his response. What a load of bollocks. All of it. What a load of bollocks. He said, get off. I'm reading the paper now. He said, ridiculous. He said, do you know how many titles Charles got now? How much? She's worth about 6 billion, apparently. It's just nuts. Rick, I had enough of it. And I said, did you close the business as a mark of respect? Did I, hell? Oh.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, but there we are. But no, the stock market though. So I think
maybe Charles will take the royal family public, and they'll float.
Yeah.
And we'll all buy a share in that.
No, because then they'd be accountable. So they'd have to put their accounts on, and all that. We'd see there'd be some visibility there.
Good point.
It's and it wouldn't like that. We'd have to see what Andrew paid that lady, even though he was innocent. He's completely innocent, but he gave her 10 million just in case. No, I'm
As a
innocent.
gesture.
I'm just giving a nice gesture. 10 million. Where did that come from? Well, I earned that by shaking hands and going to sporting events. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 million handshakes.
It's a good gig if you can get it, isn't it? Is that this? Yes. So, but that thing there, right? The energy price cap freeze, of course. If you're saying now that's the peak of inflation, and lots of banks have been saying this, and it is when you think of it. Even though it's artificially inserted there, 2.5. It's on usage, isn't it? It's not on. You don't get $2.5 regardless. It's on usage. So if you go above a certain amount, you'll still get charged at the higher rate. So, but if the two biggest, inputs into inflation are energy, oil and gas, pretty much, and that's now been capped, then of course, have you ever checked your bills, boys? Yet we've literally Megan, as soon as announced in the House of Commons, she was on the phone to our utilities provider, going to a variable tariff. Then all of a sudden they said, "Oh, fixed is better actually now." If you say on fixed, so, "Oh, she's going to go back up now, go back on fixed." Well, give them a chance. Liz Truss hasn't sat down yet, and you're on the phone to the utility company. But that's a good thing, though. I mean, because if you think about it, the whole worry, about the media love a storm. And that's what's good about the media. If you go out and about, and actually go to the streets and the towns and cities, it doesn't look remarkably more quiet. It's not like everyone's scared to leave their house and go to the pub or go for a meal. It doesn't happen. But the media are piling it on so thick about the worry, the cost of living crisis. People will die this winter. Some people will. Some people die every winter. That is life, sadly. And of course, we want to help people. But the economy doesn't grind to a halt. Yes, it'll have a little tick down into activity. Why? Largely because of behaviour. Why? Because the media scare you into it. Don't go out. You're going to pay £20 for a pint. That's what I've heard. Yeah. And so you get this, everyone tightening their belts. Everyone tightening their belts a little bit has a massive knock-on effect to the economy because everyone's, reining it in. Well, if you start saying, well, hang on a sec, just relax a little bit. Obviously, yes, be careful. You should be efficient with energy if you can anyway. But I think now, if people are seeing, our bills our bill I think was expected to be close to £4,000, and now it's going to come down to 2.5. So. That's quite good, isn't it? That's and that'll help people with.
I reckon it's a bit of a because obviously we need to use less electricity, gas, so we don't need as much. Well, Europe doesn't need as much from Russia, and I think by everyone, because you've been doing it, we can afford to pay our gas and electricity bills when they go up a little bit. It's not like we're on the bread line, but we're all cutting back, and even I'm cutting back, just like turning things off. And I think if everyone does that just a little bit, you think actually that'll probably save the country 10% here or there, and actually will probably across Europe help that kind of Russian supply. I think, wouldn't it?
But we're doing stuff now that we should have been done. I mean, it was ridiculous that we didn't have any gas storage and we cancelled gas storage. So, basically we are swimming gas. We got too much of it, but we're exporting it to other countries as well because we can't store it, and so then we have to rebuy it off the market if we have supplies issues at a higher price. It's ridiculous. And do you know the way it's electricity? The price of electricity is determined. It's crazy when you think of it. It's about the last marginal unit used, marginal cost, basically. So what happens is the National Grid looks at the demand every half an hour. This happens. National Grid say, right, how much demand do we got? Let's say we got about 50. Well, it's around about 60 gigawatts, but let's say it's 100 gigawatts, just round figures. They go 100 gigawatts is needed right now in the next half hour. And so they go to energy suppliers and say, okay, we go for the cheapest energy first, and that's renewables. It's way cheaper than anything else. But they only get around about 40% from renewables because that's all they can get. So they obviously got another 60% to get. So renewables are say really cheap. Let's say renewables are like 10 pence or something like that. So they got renewables first, and then they got nuclear, and that'll take them another, say, 10%. And then they go maybe something else like coal, then they'll take another 10%, then oil, another 10%. And then the remaining, say, 40% or whatever it is, it's about 40%, is gas. And that's the highest price of all. But they pay the last unit price. So they have to pay the gas price for the entire lot. So if it was just renewables, it'd be very cheap. And so they're trying now to unlink the last marginal unit cost. So they're trying to say, okay, in some way now, and this is going to happen, they're going to do contracts for difference. So now, actually, you can actually get, if your electricity is on renewables, you get it from a renewable supplier, you can get it cheaper now because it's not linked to the gas price. So it's nuts. And the last unit paid is the one that is the price, and that's usually gas, which is the highest price. and gas producing operationally is a lot higher than renewables, because renewables are just wind blowing, sun shining. With gas and stuff, you have to burn stuff, you have to oil it, you have to mine it. So the operational cost is a lot higher than things. So it is nuts. So they're breaking that down, which is very good, and they're sorting on the energy markets. And I know people saying we've got a lot of still oil and gas in the North Sea, and we sort of need that as well. But yeah, I think Putin has kicked himself in the balls here, I think, long term, isn't he? He's realised if he'd kept quiet and said, most of the world... Remember Trump having a go at the Germans, delegates, in an EU meeting because he said, you get all your stuff from Russia. You're owned by Russia. And they're all laughing at him. This was like 5, 6 years ago, I think. And they're all laughing at him. So he said, why are you relying on Russia for your oil and gas? And it is insane how short-sighted leaders of this world have been, not being energy independent or even trying to get there or being very relaxed about getting there, because now we're going to have to try and get there. And what's going to happen? Okay, Russia, maybe the slack will be taken up by China and India buying off Russia, but the Western world now is headstrong on becoming energy independent. It's a good thing, isn't it? So
and also Russia's now, didn't they say China's bought a massive chunk of it, but they bought it at 50% of the price. So actually, he's lost half the cost of it. So
yeah, and
although in saying that, though, I know the cost has gone up, so he is still making lots more than he did before the war. But at the same time, it is still 50% cost of whatever the supply is set at, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know who's buying it off China?
The West, probably.
Yeah, Europe. Yeah, so basically, China at the moment, it's quite worrying. China's slowing down the economy, and they are the biggest importer of LNG, liquefied natural gas. Biggest importer in the world, China are. Now, at the moment, some of their cities are shut. They're just shutting down because someone's got sniffles. Oh, COVID, shut entire 21 million city down because someone's coughing at the back. And then, essentially, any surplus they have, they sell to the rest of the world. Now, Europe is buying Russian gas via China. It's like China's a middleman. This is insane, isn't it? How do we come to this situation? No, Putin, we're not buying it off you. Yes, we'll buy off China. Another despot, crazy man. And he's buying it off you, but we won't buy it off you. It's like, you are buying it off them, essentially. But, and Turkmenistan, apparently, as well. So China gets most of his gas from Australia, actually, and Turkmenistan and Russia. But, it is crazy. But it's going to help. But anyway, I think, coming back to it, I'm starting to see the green shoots of... And I'm not quite sure we need another leg down, because right now you've seen companies... I don't know about your stocks, but they seem to have hit a bottom. Some of them are just moving around there, bobbling around the bottom there. And that happens in a bottoming process. Ooh, message. In a bottoming process.
Yeah.
What happens is it won't just bounce back up. A V-shaped recovery is never sustainable. So it's always better to hang around the bottom for a while, test it, bounce up, come back down, retest it. That's happening with the American indices at the moment. It's gone up, it's come back down recently. A lot of it down to dollar strength, because the dollar is... very strong at the moment. It's not good for other countries if the dollar's massively strong. It's not good for American companies either, because it's got, everything is dollar denominated, commodities and everything. So if the dollar goes up, everything costs. But so if that comes down, it's going to be good. But if you notice your stocks, they are sitting pretty much around about where they've been for the last couple of weeks. They're not taking big falls off a cliff now. That's
But there's an expected interest rate rise. Is there that another thing that's been put back because of Her Majesty's death? But and so we're not, we're certainly not through the woods. Inflation is still really high. But are you saying things are priced in, and so we're kind of now at a bottom? Let's hope so.
Yeah, but do you know what? I do see that I punched something out this week on Twitter, and there's good stats from the S&P 500 is the biggest stock market in the world. Pretty much, it has the biggest companies. Everything pretty much follows it. Not in lockstep, but to a certain extent. The American market, let's say America's, sneezes, we catch a cold. It's that, like that. But if you look at the stats on the S&P, generally stocks perform 6 and 12. They actually perform better during a recession than 6 to 12 months before a recession. So the market tends to price in a recession. We know that now. It's all known. It's all in there. The bonds are pricing in, rate hikes over here to pretty much 3.5%. That's all priced in. So, as long as now we don't get materially worse on the figures, which is inflation, which I don't think we will now, because the energy cap, or the price freeze has come in, and that takes a lot of heat out of, no pun intended, takes a lot of heat out of the CPI. Then it should be fine. And there's something called do you know what? Sometimes I read articles, financial articles, and I have no idea what they're talking about. And I just tweet it out. Other people like it. And they, sounds good. I don't know what the heck it's about. But where was it? It was like, here we go. Here we go. Inflation expectations are collapsing. So they're saying prices are dropping faster. I understand that bit. That's okay. Due to the drop in the 1-year break-even inflation rate. Now, that's a short-term inflation rate, right? But this is how it's measured. The TIPS/Treasury break-even rate is calculated as the difference between the Treasury yield and the Treasury inflation indexed security yield. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I'll just tweet it out. I'll just tweet the headline out. So
Steve will explain it.
Yeah. So it's the difference between the Treasury yield, which are obviously the government bonds, and the Treasury inflation index securities. So there are, when you buy, that's why bonds sell off, you see. Yields go up. When interest rates go up, bonds sell off because people are paid a certain percentage, a coupon rate on the interest rate on the bond. Now, if the interest rates are going up, they realise, hey, in fact, new bonds being issued by the government will be at a higher interest rate, so they sell the most current bonds, and so the yield on those shoot up, and they shoot up towards or close to where they believe the interest rate is going to be. So I understand that. So they're saying basically the Treasury yield, which is not inflation linked, and the Treasury inflation index yield, it's the difference between that, and that is coming down. So the short term, they're seeing within 1 year, they're seeing inflation coming down quite quickly. And now a lot of people are saying it looks like central banks, I know the Fed are talking strong. They'll say, no, we're going to keep raising interest rates until we see the back of inflation broken. But some people say it's starting to break, and they don't believe the Fed because they've rolled back on things before like that. And they say they will probably bring down interest rates if the economy starts to suffer, because the Fed has two jobs, essentially. The two jobs of this. Well, in fact, let's have a quiz. What do you think it's called a dual mandate, all right? Steve, Pete, they have two things they have to keep an eye on and mess around. Now, they can't control inflation. They can control interest rates. So when people see runaway inflation, it's very dangerous because you can't control that. All you can do is control interest rates. And, of course, if they can roll this back down. So the Fed has to look at two things. What do you think they look at generally? What's their dual mandate? What do they have to be control of?
The economy.
Yes.
Is that one?
Yeah, well, this is quite wide, but yes. What part of the economy?
The shops.
The shops, that's it. They open the shops up in the morning.
Yeah.
Fed, Jerome, have you got the keys? I haven't got any. I'm 6 million shops so far this morning. I can't find the keys for this one.
One by one. That's what happens. Okay.
Yeah. So, any guesses? Any guesses at all?
Pete.
They're not in charge of Pete, no.
No, not in charge of Pete.
No. I'm not quite sure what. Oh, well, monetary flow of money into the economy.
Yes, but the two things they look at, right, is one, they have stable prices, of course, because that's very important, and good employment. Now, of course, there's a conflict there, isn't it? When you've got inflation and you're raising interest rates, that's slowing down the economy, essentially. You want to slow down the economy and encourage people to save, not spend. But if you do that too much, of course, businesses will suffer, which means unemployment might rise. So one affects the other. So they have to keep an eye on one. At the moment, unemployment is fine. That's fine. But if they start raising interest rates and starts making businesses suffer, and unemployment starts going up, but at the moment it's not, then they'll have to bring down interest rates again. But of course, employment's a lagging indicator, and you won't get any sort of, like I said, when we know we're in a recession, most people have sort of started being laid off anyway, and it takes a long time to rehire. So it's a very lagging indicator. So they say the Fed are operating on lagging indicators. When if you look at more immediate indicators, you can see what's happening. Just look at the commodity prices; they've dropped off. In the last three months. I mean, if you look at gas or oil, it's dropped off a cliff. All corn, wheat, everything's dropped off. So that, of course, will feed through. But the Fed not looking at that, looking at employment. They are looking at other things, but so they're a little bit behind the curve. I like to laugh. ECB ladies stood this week, and they've raised interest rates. We have to be, on top of this. I said ahead of it. Ahead of it. Everyone else has raised interest rates for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 months. You've not done anything. Everyone's been talking about inflation for a year, and you've not. And she's standing there thinking, are these people in a world of their own? They honestly believe they do a good job. Yep. And I think you're way behind even the average Joe in the street knows inflation. What have you been? It's your job to know this. And you've only just started raising interest rates. But Europe, I think Europe's in real trouble at the moment. Germany, biggest economy in the world, relying on Russian gas. I don't know how they're going to survive with the winter. I have no idea. They did say their gas storage is up to about 85% full now for October, but I don't know. But then Putin said, right, you're having no more gas. And they do see that lie in the week. That's an hilarious Nord Stream 1 gas stream. They did say that we're going to take it offline for 3 days maintenance. We all know that's rubbish. They're liars, aren't they? And they said, oh, listen, we found a fault now. We can't open it back up. I'm thinking, you lying sods. Do you actually believe the lies you spread?
Yeah.
No, there's a little fault with the thing. We can't open it back up now. And then he's finally admitted, unless you stop the sanctions, we're not going to open it back up. Full stop. That's it. So,
well, no. Didn't they say they even went in further with the lie? Didn't they? Said you've got to lift the sanctions because we can't buy the parts that we need through the sanctions. You're like, come on.
And it's slowly coming round to the sanctions, wasn't it? Sorry, it's been a fault. We can't do anything. Can't open it back up. They said, in fact, the fault is down to the parts and the sanctions. They said, in fact, just drop the sanctions, and we'll open it back up.
Yeah. But the guy that fixed it, he's on holiday, so we've got to wait for him to come back.
He's where is he? He's in Germany.
He's having a lovely time in Germany.
He's in Airbnb. In fact, did you see that picture this week? It was shared very widely on social media there. A lady had booked an Airbnb in Wales, and she got in there, opened the door, and in the bedroom, standing on one of the beds, was a sheep. Just a real life sheep standing on the bed.
Yeah.
So,
perfect. Was that not mentioned?
Does every Welsh Airbnb come with a sheep?
Yeah.
Yes. It's usually an extra, but she obviously got it for free.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so news. Did you see news out from XP Factory? Because everyone's worried about XP. I did see that. Because it's fun times, good times. Is discretionary spend. People can choose to do it. It's not like they have to. It's not like energy. It's not like they have to buy it. But they came out with a very good update, and I did even contact Richard, and he said, considering what's going on, trading is amazingly resilient. And I suppose if you look at the the average punter that goes to escape rooms and boom battle bars, do they really care too much about energy? The students and people like that don't really care, do they? They just want to go out and have a good time. They don't care that the energy bill's gone up. Those kind of things are what families and adults worry about, not students or younger people who just want to go out and have a good time. Do they? I mean,
it's more the business costs I'm more worried about. Taking it off the top profit, isn't it? Yeah.
I know. I don't know what the deal is. In some of these centres, I don't know how the energy works. Are they in a deal or in some of these? I have no idea how it works. But but businesses are going to get some relief on this as well, aren't they? So that's a good thing. And if you noticed, they said the business package hasn't been revealed, but it'll be very similar to households. So
has Richard signed up to the eEnergy group?
Well, yeah, but you have to be quite big to be part of eEnergy group. You have to spend about £250,000 a year minimum on energy. So I don't know if they do that. I doubt they do. Well, saying that, they're opening up at an amazing rate. They bought Cardiff, Steve. Have you seen that? They've now Cardiff was a franchise, which was a very busy bar, wasn't it? Because you got lots of events in Cardiff, right in the centre of town, pretty much.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, in the Brewery Quarter in Carron Street. That's where Chip Shop Alley is, isn't it? And all that stuff. If you've never been to Cardiff, it's go there for an event. It is a wonderful city for an event, isn't it? It's literally you would never have got planning permission for that stadium anywhere else in the country. It's literally scraping buildings next to it. It's really slap bang. It's almost like
even more so now because they're developing around it. And I noticed the other day they built like a not a skyscraper, an office block quite tall, and they've literally they've got the big pins that come out on the side each corner of the stadium. They've literally built these buildings around this pin. There's this pin just going like almost up to the windows. You're like, wow, that's incredible.
Do you know what it's like? It's like sitting on a short haul flight, right, going to holidays, and for some reason you've booked 2 seats. You say you're a couple. You book 2 seats, and there's a gap in between you for a seat there. And you think, why is that seat empty? Can't we stay? And you're about to take off and thinking, okay, we're about to go. It's fine. We've got a spare seat in between us. And then a big happy fat guy comes in, yay, in his party top, and just squashes in between you. There's no room for him really, but just squashes in there. But he's a nice guy. He's good, he's a nice guy. He makes a lot of fun. That's like the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. They just really squashed this massive stadium into a room that was a smaller site for a small stadium, pretty much. And it's slap bang in the middle. And yet they shut down all the roads of Cardiff, of course, when there's events on. And so it's just like one big party zone, isn't it? The pubs are full. Everything's full around there. So it generally, compared to someone like... Well, I've been to other stadiums. We have to, Wembley's. It's in Wembley, but it's not like centre town, is it? You wouldn't know there's something going on in Cardiff when there's an event there. In London, it's so big there can be sort of 5-6 Premiership games or whatever going on in one day. You wouldn't even know, But Cardiff is completely overtaken by the thing, and the streets are awash with usually on sort of rugby days, people in Welsh jerseys and all that stuff, jam-packed. So it's a cracking location. But so they bought that now. It was that means, of course, more revenue top line, and of course more income earnings go to the bottom line. Of course, they did in the last 12 months. 12 months to 30th of June, they did a turnover of 3.82 million in that Cardiff one, which is nice. Profit before tax, EBITDA 438k, and so they bought that for 1.5, which is good. It's about 3.4 times EBITDA, which is a good price to pay. And they've also taken on Norwich as a owner operated. So where else they got? Norwich. The one is just opened in Manchester. It's owner operated. As a result, Boom Battle Bar now has 18 sites, 6 of which are owner operated, including Cardiff. 12 franchised. The pipeline remains strong. 5 owner-operated sites currently in build. Edinburgh, London, Oxford Street. That's a monster. That is monster. So that will knock most others. I mean, there's some big ones, the super sites, and that is a super site. That'll have an escape room in as well. Escape under there. There's Plymouth. There's Leeds. There's Birmingham. Yeah. 3 further franchisee sites also in build, and Bournemouth, Chelmsford, Southampton. We should go to that, boys, when it's in Southampton down here. Just go there. And there's more being built. Escape Hunt has now got a network of 23 owner-operated sites. And so they're on target, which is odd, right? They came out with revenue for the 6 months is about in excess of 8 million compared to 1.2 million last year. A bit of a lockdown as well, though. But if you look at that, that's phenomenal compared to...
Well, that's because before they bought Boom Battle Bar.
Yeah. So exactly. Well, last year's revenues were about 7 million, but that was up to the 31st of December. But Boom Battle Bar was only bought at the end of November, so literally a month of a couple of sites. And now they've done 8 million in the first 6 months, which is more than the 12 months last year. But the target for this year, get this, is 25.3 million, right? Yeah. And normally when, they come out, people say, they're not going to hit that target, are they? But... then a broker note came out, and normally a broker note has to come out and they'll talk with the company and see, are you on target? Are you in line with expectations this year? And I was expecting that to come down a little bit because maybe the cost of living squeeze, but it didn't. So they're confident of hitting 25.3 million this year. And when you think about it, if you look at all the sites now just about opening back up, or new opening, then they probably could get very close to it because they're confident in the broker target. So... that's very good. And if you look at the growth here, it's very good, actually. Let me just scroll down. So 25.3 million for this year. That's 2.7 EBITDA. For next year, 14 million, pretty much, in top-line revenue. The year after that, 52 million, with pretty much 10 million of EBITDA. Now, even if you put that on a 10 multiple, then...
currently 19 million market cap.
That's 100 million market cap, Yeah. So we're talking 5 times where we are right now. So we are EBITDA now 4.5 times enterprise value against EBITDA. In 2023, it's 1.9 times. That is cheap. I generally look for companies that are new, less than 10. They're on 4.5 now. They'll be 1.9 next year. Yeah. So this is looking very good. And the fact they've reiterated the guidance says to me, that's good. That's very, very good. So you realise sometimes... there's always opportunities in the market, selling begets selling. People start worrying. People start creating fears that are not there. The share price sells off. Other people then say, "Oh, it's going wrong," and other people sell. And you realise, we're in a year's time, pretty much. Probably think, do you remember when XPF was like 11 pence? That's nuts. So so there's opportunity there, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit under on that one at the moment. Only just gone under a little
Yeah.
bit, so which was a bit of shame.
It'd be fine because when you
I know, fine. It's only because I chucked the big chunk in on at 30p, I think it was, or 28p, and I was like, oh, that was annoying, but never mind.
But the good thing is, right, it was one of the things it's like we now know that demand is there, it's not a problem. They reiterate their guidance, and literally they give you the cash level. So the cash level pretty much will be 3.4 at the end of this year. It was 6.7 in the last year, so they're burning a bit of cash this year. And then next year, the cash level starts going back up then because they're generating cash at an operating level. So it goes up to 4 million next year, then 7.3 million next year. That's sort of piling cash. And then there's even a dividend in the forecast for 2024. So they'll start, hopefully, and by that level, they'll be chucking off a decent lot of cash, like I say, because their operating level is such that they are profitable pretty much every site. But I like the business. It's good. The margins are all good. So I like a lot. Oh, by the way, this morning, right? Go on. Yeah. Any questions? Any?
No, I was going to say just that of my shares. That's probably the one where I was most nervous because of its exposure to the consumers and obviously spend. And that was quite encouraging to see that update this week. So yeah, that was quite.
I went in the group actually probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago when it just was dropping below 15p, and there were a lot of nervous people in there saying, "I'm selling. I'm out." Wasn't there? I think they were even not blaming you, Just. They were even saying, "I bet Justin's sold out."
Yeah, no. Well, I did say, and people like go at me. I did say, well, listen, I had too much, XP Factory. I was overexposed to a certain extent, and you realise in a time like this, let's be honest, I've done quite well. I started buying at 7 pence. I should have, in fact, probably trimmed a lot sooner, and that timing that was probably better. But I still hold a decent chunk of shares, and like I did say, I still hold more than the CEO and the chairman combined. So let's make no bones about it. I'm still committed to this company, a lot, and it makes up a decent chunk of my portfolio, and it will be, it'll really transform my portfolio when it does well. So, but I just want to trim, and why I do that? Like I said, I keep saying about this. Now you say this is reassurance, this update. But when you're looking over the next 12 months and the economies, you've got to think, okay, it's only 3 estimates or outcomes that happens when a company gives guidance to the market. One is above expectations. That's what you want companies to do. One is meeting expectations. In this market, even if you meet expectations, there may be a relief rally, but it doesn't really last long. And then you get below expectations, then it takes a hammering. And I think, okay, which companies are really going to be above expectations? And we've talked about energy so much, and even behaviour. Imagine how many people now are looking at smart meters. It's the businesses, it's a must. You have to know where you're losing money, and where you're using the energy. You have to know that. It's essential. If you don't, and eEnergy says, if you don't measure it, how do you know where it's going? And eEnergy says, most companies waste 30% of their energy. And we can pinpoint that for you straight away. And you basically have to do nothing apart from install one of our meters on a subscription level, so it doesn't cost you anything. And the money you save will be paid for by that and our services consulting for you and then procuring for you. So it'll save you money. You make a profit pretty much. So in my mind, I still think over the next 6 to 12 months, eEnergy will be a company that will exceed expectations because they are super busy, and already now their forward order book is 25 million, which is their market cap. That's their valuation. That's insane in my mind. Now, back a few years down, this was trading at 5 times sales. It's now trading at less than 1 time sales, and that's a bear market. That's cheap, and I can't see these guys getting any cheaper. And in fact, the energy cap helps them. I did say to I emailed Harvey. I said, "What's your thoughts on the business energy cap?" And he says, "Our view, it doesn't change much. Even those that get the support won't suddenly be in a low price environment. They're still paying double the rate of solar, for example, and they're all wasting all that energy anyway. So they'll need huge cost savings." And like I said, they can come in straight away and say, "You're losing 30% here. Stop doing that. Switch that off overnight." And straight away they take 30% off their bill. And so to me, that's essential, isn't it? As a business, as a big business, you have to know where your energy is going. And so they've got the complete upstream of this. First of all, it's very clever, actually. I mean, first of all, they go in and say, okay, so they get a client and say, okay, we're going to put a granular behind the meter smart meter. Not just these bland sort of smart meters. It shows you everything, but it's very easy, very user-friendly. It's award-winning. And you put it in there, and straight away they hook it up. you can see where you're using the energy. And then you can analyse it, you get data points, data sheets, spreadsheets out from it, everything, and say, why is one of our factories burning this much at that time of night, or whatever, or anything, And they identify where they're wasting it. And then they'll say, okay, so we can reduce that further for you just by procuring. They've got a reverse auction platform with all the big energy suppliers on there. And they can break it down. And it's very complex business contracts. So we'll find the best contract for you, and we'll advise you every time that changes. So we'll save more money than that, another 20%. And then, if you want, we can save another 20, 30% if you do on-site solar and EV charge and all that. So you not only get your energy half price from the grid, pretty much, but you can also generate money from having EV chargers. And that doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't cost you anything up front. And if you are having money problems as a business, that's ideal. So what do you mean? So the money you save goes towards our subscription, but you still have money left over, so you're basically making a profit, essentially. So in my mind, it's a no-brainer. Harvey says, one of the hardest things we have to do is convince people it is as good as it is. People think, really? So I can't see that company getting any quieter, because if anything, this energy crisis has brought into focus for businesses how important it is to be over your energy usage. And in fact, the energy wastage. That's the thing, isn't it? It's amazing if you're whinging about your bill, a business, and you realise a company comes in and says, well, the most expensive kilowatt hour is the one you're not using, you're wasting. Just get rid of that, first of all. And so that's why I think eEnergy, there are little drip feed sellers in there, I think it's from previous acquisitions, which are holding the share price down. But I think once they do an update, it's going to rally very strongly because they've been very busy. And like I said, they even contracted 88% of their revenue for the first quarter before the quarter started. So you understand that. So you imagine, and that's also a nice thing in uncertain times. You have long, recurring contracts that give you visibility over the future earnings, and 33% of next year's earnings revenue was already contracted before the financial year started. That's a cracking business to have, isn't it? Hey, tell you what, talking about cracking businesses, I took Lola for a dog groom this week. And and I was standing outside, literally at 9 o'clock. I was there at 5 to 9. There was 4 people outside, 50 quid a pop. Imagine that in a business. Business, you just, not even opened up yet. 4 people queue outside. It's 200 quid right there. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And and they take 2 hours, and then another 4 people will come in. And so every 2 hours, pretty much 200 quid.
How do you know there was more people after you? That would be the whole day's business.
No, because when I came up there was more dogs arriving. But there we are. Do you know what? Do you know where I got up this morning just now, and I heard a bit of movement in the house. Monty and Megan tend to have weekends. I thought, what's going on with you? Looked at the window, the car was gone. It's like half 7 in the morning. I thought, what the heck are they gone? And then it turns out...
Your car would be nicked.
Yeah, no. They've gone to Asda, right, to find Prime. Have you heard of Prime, Steve?
Well, only Amazon, but I presume they haven't gone to Asda to get that.
No. See, you're not down with the kids. It's this drink, and in fact, I looked on Gfinity Stock Informer website this year, and I'm hooking this in, and on there, amongst some of the hottest things on there, I'm just going there. It is Prime. It's a drink, right? It's a drink publicised by Logan Paul and KSI, and it's like a snazzy bottle and all this stuff. They sell out everywhere. It's like, and Monty's got about 10. They bought Megan, I think, bought about 4 trays of it the other day. I did post this on Discord saying, on a Stock Informer is Prime. I said, Megan and the other day, it's out of stock the other day, right? It's amazing, this kind of marketing, isn't it? Get 2 high-profile social media celebs on there to market your drink or product. Supply very little to the market. It just builds the hype, And so people, now every time it's going to be in stock, they've got Asda searching for it.
Is it an energy drink by any chance?
Yes. Let me just find Stock Informer. Yeah. But it's on Stock Informer. So Stock Informer...
Hydration drink.
Yeah, what Gfinity owns, you can get... It's very good, actually. There's now a new version of it coming out very soon, and they've got all new categories. But if you click on the Stock Informer, and the top said we're just launching our new site. Have a quick glimpse. It's not finished yet. But you scroll down and look at some of the things. Where is it? Prime Hydration. It's your track. So basically, any product you want, you just click on it and send me email alerts or WhatsApp notifications. And this is for Megan and Monty. It would be perfect because they just say it'd send you a notification straight away as soon as Prime comes into store. I don't know how it does it. As soon as it comes into store, the page refreshes every 10 seconds, so it knows straight away. Any sort of Xboxes, all that stuff, it'll tell you straight away when it's going in. But we got you still got 10 bottles of it left in the fridge in the garage, and he wants to go and buy another few trays. People are selling this stuff for ridiculous amounts.
Right.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? So, but this is very good for Gfinity, of course, because this gadget will sit within other websites, and it's pretty much all based around computers, electronics, gaming, home health, toys, collectibles. So it's a very targeted audience, So when people go to one of their sites, they'll see, new Xbox is out, you get it here. And so the click-through rates are better, affiliate marketing's better, the advertising is better, you get more bang for your buck, pretty much. So yeah, I like that. And Gfinity chart is looking quite good. It's trying to break out. It's trying to get back up above that level of 1.25, which is where the placing was. I think it's going to do it soon if we get some good news. So that's why I think the market's turned around a bit. I think so if some stocks are starting to rally, others are not going down so much unless they bring a report out that's dreadful, it's below expectations, and that can happen in this market more often than not. They'll fall out of bed on those ones, but as long as they are going along, business is putting along nicely, they'll be fine. But I think we're maybe close because we are 12 months now, over 12 months since the market hit its high, and that generally 12 to 14, 16 months is bear market, how long they last for. So we are, as the Americans say, we're probably in the fourth quarter here, right in the fourth quarter of the bear market. So yeah. Anything else, boys? Any observations, Steve? What are you doing? Are you dating it, Steve?
No.
No.
Sorry, a little frog in my throat then. No, I've come off all the data. I've deleted all my dating apps, so I've kind of given up for a bit. I say given up. I've taken a break.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Well, we got to mention our thing, and we should just start really. But
yes,
I'll keep punting it because I've got a good idea. So our 10 peaks challenge.
Explain what the thing is. Yes. Explain what the thing is.
So we are doing on the 24th. That's 2 weeks away now. It's the 10th today. 2 weeks away from walking 10 peaks in Snowdonia in a day. Paddy, Pete, and myself. And we're looking for sponsorship.
Not Steve. Steve's got out of it.
Yeah, Steve's working apparently. Very convenient. I'm very busy that day actually. Yeah, it's very busy doing something.
Researching stocks, probably.
Yeah. And looking for Prime. I'm going around Asda trying to find some Prime.
Yeah.
So we got a target of £10,000. In fact, good news is I did ask my father yesterday. I said, Dan, will you sponsor me? He said, yep, he sponsors everyone. My father got so many direct debits going out. It's ridiculous. And I said, what are you doing? So will you sponsor me? Yep. What are you doing? So literally I could say nothing. Nothing at all. Just give me some money. But he said, yeah. And he said, what are you doing? I said, okay, I'll give you 100 quid in. So he's going to chuck 100 quid in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cheers, Chris.
And our target is £10,000. What are we on at the moment? What are we on?
755.
All right. Yes. 7%.
Come on, we do need to ramp it up. I've got a load of people that I think, are going to sponsor me. They just haven't got around to it. So I'll be badgering them.
I've still got a few I can tap. I haven't asked people at work in Vox, so I can ask them.
Okay.
So I'm going to...
And anyone listening to this podcast that wants to support us, if everyone listening to this gave us a tenner, we'd hit our target, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I know it's hard work. Please, I'll put the link in Audible and I'll share it out. If you have got to this end of the podcast, I don't know how many people listen to this part of the podcast.
Yeah, good point.
maybe we should at the start. Maybe just one person listening. But if you can, just pay £10. That's all we need. And then we'd hit our target of £10,000. But I've got a couple of ideas. First of all, we come up with this idea of if we get to the top and we have 10 grand, we will do it in dresses. That's one idea. So I don't know how that's going to float people's boats.
Let's do that. But Paddy won't do that, but I'll do that. I'm happy.
I don't know. Paddy likes nakedness, so a dress is kind of nakedness, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe just wears a miniskirt, nothing else.
Okay.
A miniskirt, walking boots, nothing else. That'd be good for Pad.
Perfect.
So and then I thought, hang on, there's a very good system online called Raffle. Right, you do a raffle, you sell tickets, and you get a prize. Obviously, you need prizes. Steve, can't you supply? We should do a big package. Now, listen, the good thing is, I did ask Richard from Escape, sort of XP Factory. I said, "Oh no, I've heard about that. The 10 peaks." He said, "I did 3 peaks, and that's knackering." I said, "Why are we doing 10 peaks? 3 is enough." Surely.
No, well,
I must admit, Pete, when you kind of said, I generally am busy, but when you then came back saying it was a 10 peak and I looked at the actual thing, I was like, I actually don't think I could do that. My knees just can't walk. I don't think I can walk up and down hills that much.
I even emailed the guy this week, and said, how far is it? How long does it take? But, And he said, oh, right, we set off at 7 a.m. Hopefully we'll get back by 5. I said, bloody hell, 10 hours? It's an hour a peak, pretty much.
Yes, fine. I've done the 3 peaks. It's a whole different ball game now because there's a lot of driving as well. Because you're up in Scotland, then down the Lake District, then down to Snowdonia. So it's a bit hectic. And they're bigger mountains. But anyway, yes.
So anyway, I've asked prizes we need, right? And so I've said, and Richard from said Richard from Faithful Escape Factory said he would supply a prize. I don't know what it could be. He said, he did say, anything. Yeah, let me know. And so we could do a VIP night for the big one, hopefully in Oxford Street. VIP night for that, and a raffle, tenner ticket, and you get a night out there, get me hopefully some free drinks, free food, all that stuff. Yeah. All that chucked in at the big one in Oxford Street. Now that's got to be worth tenner, hasn't it, of your money, an incentive. And there's other things. I'm trying to find other things. I'm badgering other people to get some prizes.
Yes. But also, if people just want to go to Just Giving and search 10 grand peaks, you'll see Justin, Paddy and Pete's 10 grand peaks. And that's that. And if you can just donate a tenner, that would be brilliant. And we've got a great chance, I think.
Exactly. Well, listen, come on. It's £10. That's all it is. I said, it's interesting. You look at the figures. So on Twitter, right, I've got 14,000 followers, right? So 10% of that is 1,400. I mean, 10%, even that, if you get 5% and tenner, it'd be perfect, you know? So it'd be nice to that. So, so please, it's only a tenner. It's only a tenner.
Pete, in the cost of all this, is a helicopter lift off the mountain for Justin included?
No, that will not be coming out of the sponsor.
Right,
no.
okay, good.
The funny thing is, I think these kind of things are probably harder than doing a marathon. Do you know why? Because it's like you said, have you done any training, Pete asked. I said, well, I walk every day. Because you walk, you think, how do you do training for this? No. It's like, I walk the dog. I've been on the treadmill at incline walking most days. I do that. But in a marathon, you would do some running. So that's the normal thing is it's not normal to run. So you do you'd run. But with walking, you think, well, I do walk. But then you realise you're undertrained probably.
It's time on your feet. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing to get, because like you said earlier, 10 hours, whatever. That's the thing to get kind of conditioned in. And also your feet, get your feet ready, and like your boots and stuff. Like, I started wearing my boots out a bit now because I haven't worn them for years, and they are a bit uncomfortable at the moment.
Mine are not. I bought some crackers from. I didn't take advice, Steve. I couldn't bother.
Should have bought boots, not crackers.
Yeah. I bought some. There we are. Sponsor me to walk in some crackers.
Crackers.
Yeah. And then we get to the top, we pull them. I was. I bought the ones from Amazon Prime. They are excellent rated, like 7,000, 4.5 stars. I put them on. They're so comfortable. I've walked in them on the treadmill every day. I've walked with a dog with them. I've not got one blister anywhere. And they're so light, so comfortable. And they're not like the geeky, massive walking boots. They are almost like a trainer walking boots. They are more chunky than the trainer, but they don't look as massive as the one.
They're so going to fall apart after hour 5.
I know. These bloody boots. Yeah.
The second peak, they'll just be in pieces.
Well, I'll just say, I can't do it, boys. It's my boots, isn't it? It's a kit. It's a kit. It's not me.
Just get Amazon Prime same-day delivery on the third peak.
So anyway, boys, is there anything you can supply? Steve, you must have some kind of stuff, you can put into the package, you'll film their wedding day or something. I don't know. Steve, Pete, you get a logo.
I don't do weddings. I don't do logos either.
Steve, Pete, you do. As a part of the package, you get lots of prizes, but part of it, your own personal logo. That'd be quite good, wouldn't it? There's lots of people on social media with like a nice logo. You could do that for them, can you? You're into all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's be creative with this.
I think I'd rather a free night out and Boom Battle Bar. But
exactly.
But you get that. You get that, and your own personal logo. You get that as well. Yeah. All that. Anyway, I've tapped up Rich as well. Who works in, at the radio stations. Who works on Heart and all that. So if you got any tickets,
they're going to be good price.
Tickets for events, knocking about. So you better come up with something decent. Yeah.
I know a couple of people I might tap up and see if there's any products that we can get included in a raffle, but I'll see. But yes.
But what do you think? Do you think just do one prize with lots of stuff in it? No, I say lots of stuff.
Oh, I see. Yeah, raffle up a big prize. Oh, yeah, that'd be better. Yeah, okay.
A combination of everything.
Yeah,
so,
that's better than splitting it.
Yeah, okay.
A box of Prime. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be gutted if you just won Pete's logo.
Yeah, they can have my money back, please.
Yeah, I can get that on Fiverr.com for cheaper, half price.
I could have had two.
Yeah. All right. Okay, boys. Well, I'm going to go back down to watching rolling coverage of the morning because we've got another 7 days left yet. So,
well, 10 o'clock this morning, Charlie's getting sworn in, isn't he? I believe.
Oh, is he?
That's happening. That's 10 o'clock this
I will serve you like Mama.
It's a bit rude for 10 o'clock in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if that's the right phrase for being sworn in, but whatever.
Oh, right, okay.
Proclaimed. There we are. He's been proclaimed king at St James's Palace. There you go, at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Right,
Charles
there you
III. Well, we know it's happening. Charles I was beheaded. You know that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good
Oliver
point.
Cromwell took him over, chopped his head off. He hid in a tree, didn't he? He hid in a tree, and then, was that Charles II? Yeah, Charles I, I think. But,
Definitely the first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because Charles II was the fun one, wasn't he?
Oh, is he? Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks, boys. Have a nice weekend.
Okay.
You
too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
The Share Pickers Weekend Podcast with Justin, Paddy, Peter and Steve. The content of this podcast is not intended as investment advice. It is for information purposes only. People in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.